Welcome back, y'all, to episode 46 of the Everybody But Me show. We have an amazing guest on today, but I'm here right now in Jupiter, Florida with my man, Phil Fit, and we are back again with another great episode. But we have an amazing dating coach for us, you guys. A matchmaker, must I say. I could probably use a lot of her help here. But our guest today, she graduated from the University of Miami in 2017 with a communications major. Love that because that's what I majored in. That's where all the girls were, you know. And then she earned a certificate from the Harvard Business School in 2020, and she eventually earned her master's degree in conflict resolution, which is amazing, and negotiations from the Columbia University, and graduated summa cum laude from Columbia 2021. And is trained in mediation. Now Nelly is a full-time dating coach with over 900,000 followers on social media and has become one of the top dating coaches for high-value singles around the world. Her dating advice videos have over 20 million likes across the world, and her content has transformed the love of millions of women and men out there. We got Ask Nelly. Nelly, how are we doing today?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for the introduction.
Of course. I appreciate you coming on here and joining us. Where are you today?
I'm based in Miami at the moment.
Based in Miami.
Sunny, South Florida.
Yeah, there's a lot of high-value singles down there.
There are, but you know what? Miami is Peter Pan town. So there are a lot of high-value singles, but a lot of players here too. And a lot of people who don't want to grow up.
A lot of Pinocchios too.
Liars, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Yep.
those girls.
Yep.
Oh, female liars? Yeah. I mean, I guess
a lot of male liars down there. A lot of guys selling shit they don't got, you know.
That's true. It's funny. I have 5 siblings. One of my sisters used to live in Florida or in Miami, and she was like, I'm done with it. She used to say it's the town where everyone's a $30,000 millionaire because you've got the people who've got like the leased Ferrari, the 10 roommates, and then out and about, you know, they look so opulent and successful, but then beneath the surface, it's a lot of just the, hot air.
People really do that.
Yeah, Miami.
She said 10 roommates above driving a Ferrari.
Yeah, Miami.
Wow.
Miami's that kind of place.
Wow.
And that's why I can't hang in Miami too much. But I got a question for you. What makes a high value single? What is that? Where does that come from?
Well, the word high value in the context of dating refers to the people who are single within the dating marketplace who have the most bargaining power when it comes to finding a mate. And the definition differs depending on your sexual orientation, depending on if you're a man or a woman. But ultimately, if we're talking about high value singles, we're talking about people who bring a lot to the table. And so they have, like I said, bargaining power, and they're able to kind of command, the types of women or men that they're after more easily. Now, when we're talking about the dating marketplace, I'm referring to, again, the pool of single people within your geographic region. And depending on where you live, obviously you're going to get different types of singles, different types of preferences. But for the most part, there are kind of 4 standout characteristics when we're talking about men who are high value, and then some characteristics that pertain to women who I refer to as high value. Fun fact, I actually trademarked the word high value.
I saw that. I was trying to figure out why.
Why? Because I got fed up with people always misconstruing the term high value. And I think a lot of people, what I've noticed is they think that high value means you are more valuable in society. And that's simply false. Like, someone can have value in society, but not be able to have great bargaining power in the pool of singles for various different reasons. And so it's not necessarily that someone who's high value is more valuable as a human or more of a contributor to society. It's just that in the pool of singles in the dating marketplace, they offer more value to the other pool of singles that they're trying to attract.
Gotcha. Okay, so high value doesn't have to do anything with money.
I didn't say that.
So money is important stuff.
Yeah, money makes the world go around. There are there are lots of studies actually that talk about, what attracts women to men, what attracts men to women. And overall, when we're talking about straight single women, they tend to want men who are dominant, who are providers, who are protectors. When they're thinking about who am I going to raise a family with, they want to make sure that someone is stable, consistent, and able to hold down the fort and be a leader. And, when it comes to men, and I coach many, men and women as well. You know, they want women who are nurturing, feminine, attractive, and supportive, and all of those kind of more what I call feminine energy characteristics. And so it's very unique when we're talking about men and women in the dating marketplace, because what we're going through in society right now, I find, is a lot of women are under the assumption that men want the same things that they want, and that's simply not true. Now, overall, yes, everyone's looking for love, but in terms of what you actually need as a person when it comes to companionship, the studies show that they're pretty different. So, yeah.
Who's harder to coach, the men or the women?
I think women are harder to coach.
Why is that?
because a lot of women, especially ones who are more successful, more intelligent, and also older in life. In other words, my bread and butter, the types of women who tend to gravitate toward my coaching, they're very set in their own ways, and they have a hard time being told, and they're sensitive when it comes to what their flaws might be. And so if I say, listen, maybe, you know, you have to work on your appearance a little bit because you're 45 and you're competing with 25-year-olds and you're trying to get a top level CEO, it's all about delivery. And I find that men are a lot more receptive to the no nonsense feedback than women are sometimes. It doesn't mean that women can't take it in stride. It's just a lot more delicate with them. And I also find that coaching women sometimes means they're pickier and they're a little bit more, apprehensive about working with a coach, whereas men are a lot more like, okay, sure, matchmaker, boom. And they're just down for anything because they see the value and they're driven. If you show a guy, for example, as a matchmaker, a picture of a few hot girls, they're like, oh yeah, I'll hire you. But if you show a woman a picture of like a guy who's good looking, she'll be like, but how much money did he make? Where did he go to school? What are his parents like? You know, and then it's like a laundry list of questions. I love working with women, but definitely more complexities come with it.
So you're saying men are more malleable, huh?
That's very interesting.
More receptive to feedback. I think those were my
You
words.
take coaching better. I get it.
And
Yeah.
I thought it would be the opposite, honestly.
I'm just messing with you. No.
If you need a matchmaker, you know who to call.
I really
lots
thought
of
men
them.
were going to be way more set in their ways.
So
stubborn.
did I. So did I, to be honest. Yeah. Wow. I'm very impressed with this.
Well, you know, it's tough, and I get some flack for this because a lot of women think I'm always defending men, and I'm not. I could talk about some of the mistakes I see a lot of men making in their dating lives, but I think that men are villainized a lot in society when it comes to dating, and I really am a firm believer in not creating gender wars, but instead trying to figure out how to harmonize between the two genders, because ultimately, you know, if we work together, we can get results. And we're living in an era where there's so much of this like fast food dating culture. People don't take the time to get to know anyone. Everyone's on an app looking at like a picture or a couple sentences and like, oh, I don't like the shoes he's wearing, or, oh, I don't like that he went to that school, or I don't like that he's, you know, in law school, like things like that, instead of understanding the essence of a person and really trying to get to know someone for who they are. And unfortunately and fortunately, that's provided us with a lot more options. But like I said, it's unfortunate too, because we've lost the art of actually getting to know each other and communicate.
I have to ask you, Nelly, you're a dating coach. Are you dating anybody yourself?
I'm dating, but I'm single. I just moved to LA. So, you know, LA dating is, I don't know if you've heard about the reputation, but it's different. There's, I think, a lot more competition in LA, and people who are, you know, more into like the cloud of it. So it's been interesting dating, but I'm having a good time meeting new people. And I'm not like desperately looking for a relationship, but I'm totally open to finding love if I meet the right person.
When's the last time you've been in love?
I wasn't expecting that question. Probably last year. But I fall in love really easily, and I love being in love, but I also feel like it's usually with the wrong people. So, yeah.
Same.
What about you?
Same.
What about you?
Last time I was in love, probably like 2 years ago.
It's funny. I'm coming out with a card game, and there are two decks. One is compatibility and one's chemistry, because I think you really need both in relationships. You need like, well, compatibility is like being good on paper. Like, okay, for example, we have the same religious values, or we both have similar lifestyles and we like to travel and da-da-da. And then chemistry is like, are there sparks? Is there, a connection and passion? And one of the questions, and so in the card game, there's 2 decks, a compatibility and a chemistry deck. And in the chemistry deck, one of the questions is, when is the last time you've been in love? And the key is to kind of like throw you off a little bit. So it's funny that you just asked me that question.
Well, now you need to come on when you make this game. You need to come back on here and play it with us.
We're gonna play it. Okay.
I like that.
It could get a little intense for sure.
So when you first bring somebody on and you're coaching them, what are like the first things you do to get them out there and get them confident and get them feeling good about dating again?
So first and foremost, when I onboard a new client, is I go through an assessment with them where I ask them various questions. Some of those questions include, what are some deal breakers for you? What are some non-negotiables? What are your insecurities? What are some characteristics you want in an ideal partner? Are you on any dating apps? When's the last time you were in a relationship? Why do you think that ended? Because I really need to understand what drives a person before I can set them up with someone and get to work. And I'm not the kind of matchmaker who likes to tell someone who they should be with. I gather that information and then I try to get them what they want. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, because people realize naturally that maybe what they think they want is not actually what they want. Had that happen a million times, where it's like, I'll give them someone who's perfect on paper for them and they'll be like, well, she's a little too Jewish. And I'm like, but you wanted a Jewish girl. But not like that. I'm like, okay, so we got to dial it back a little, right? But that's the first thing I do when I bring on a new client. And it's so funny because I've gotten some crazy, crazy stories through doing that.
So are you working with, so you're matchmaking your clients with other clients that you have?
I have a database, which is free. Anyone can sign up to be in my free database on my website. And essentially you upload your photos, a little bit about you, why you want to be set up. And that costs nothing. And then I have actual clients who are paid clients and they hire me to set them up. And I will pull people from my database to set them up with, or if I know someone, I will refer them to that person. And I also work with other matchmakers who have their own clients, and then we kind of cross-pollinate and collaborate that way as well. So it's a 360 method.
How did you get into this?
How did I get into this? So I was working a corporate job during COVID, and I had just gotten promoted. Things were going great. It was at a Fortune 500 company. So I was like on top of everything work-wise. And then COVID hit and TikTok blew up, if you remember, when I was doing those dance videos. And I was with my sister and she was going through some like relationship dating issues. And I thought, okay, I have TikTok. Let me just pull up my phone and, record a few tips in the car, like what to do if a guy ghosts you. And then I said to my little sister, help me upload this, because I didn't even know how to upload a TikTok video. Like, help me create a caption and do the thing. And she basically taught me how to use TikTok. And I posted the video. It got traction. I think it got like 30,000 views or something. And I thought, this is fun. People kept asking me in the comments, oh, what do I do in this situation? Make a video about this. So I started making videos every day, and it turned into a passion project, which then led to me quitting my corporate job and turning it into a full-blown business where I launched dating courses for women. And it was amazing because it literally replaced my corporate income. And then it led to me doing matchmaking.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
Anyone married yet?
I have gotten people engaged and married. Yeah.
Wow.
I have lots of testimonials. One of my first clients was 20. She is Orthodox Jew, lives in New York City, and she was really against, because I started off doing dating coaching and not matchmaking. She was really against downloading a dating app because in those communities, it's a lot of just how you meet people through synagogue and friends, and everything is very contained because of how religious they are. So sometimes dating apps can feel like you're, kind of compromising your privacy. But I said, you got to get on Hinge, you got to get on Bumble. She got on Hinge, she got on Bumble, and she was heartbroken going through a breakup when we started working together. 1 year later, she sent me a picture of her engagement ring. We'd been doing sessions continuously, and she said, thank you so much for encouraging me to download a dating app, because that's how I met my fiance. And then a few weeks ago, I got a really touching message from this woman who said, because of you, I started my IVF journey, and me and my now fiance are buying a home together. So I get a lot of messages like that that just really warm my heart. And one last thing, I do have a 100% success rate in the sense that everyone who I've worked with has gotten in a relationship. Doesn't mean they kept their relationships because, I can't control what happens behind closed doors. And usually what will happen, Tyler and Phil, is people will start working with me. They'll get in a relationship. We'll stop doing our sessions because they think they've got it. And then a few months later, it'll be like, okay, we broke up. I need to get back out there. So
Coaching's got to continue.
I was gonna say I understand that being a trainer.
Oh, I'm in shape now.
Yeah,
Myself.
I'm good. Right.
It's almost like people always say, why would anyone get a dating coach? And I understand that. However, to me, it's almost like if you were trying to get in shape and you were going to the gym, but you didn't know what to do, you weren't lifting the right weights, you weren't sure how to use the equipment. Yeah, you could keep trying to do that. You could go on YouTube and maybe figure it out. But you could also consider hiring a fitness trainer and, being open to the idea of getting help from someone who knows what they're doing. So I think it's important to kind of look at it through a more open-minded lens for all the people who question like the point of dating coaches and all that.
So what are some hot topics that you discuss with some like your clients? Like, what are things that you probably go over mostly with each one? Like we all probably share common issues.
Yeah.
So what are some of those with your clients?
Well, it depends on, I think, where they're at in life. So with the women who are single moms and divorcees, a lot of the issues I've come across are trust, feeling like, they can't open themselves up to love again because their ex did something to them and they don't trust them anymore. And, there are a lot of women are hypergamous, which essentially means that they want someone who's on their level or above, financially and intellectually. And the problem is, if you are in the dating market and you are a single mom and you're older, maybe, let yourself go physically a little bit. It doesn't matter if you're making $500,000 a year. If you want someone who's financially equivalent, like a man who's making $500,000 a year, he's going to also be looking to date women who don't have all that baggage, right? Respectfully, like maybe he can pull a girl who's thinner, prettier, no kids, never been married, right? Younger. So it's like you as a woman have to understand the competition. And a lot of women are sensitive to that because they want to believe that these things don't matter because they don't matter to them. But to men, it's a different criteria. And I know that because I've worked with a lot of men and I'm a no bullshit, no nonsense kind of person. And the problem is a lot of the women who are in the space that I'm in, dating, coaching, and matchmaking, pander to other women. They tell them what they want to hear because they want to soften the blow and they don't want to hurt their feelings. And they also want to continue making money off them. So they'll say, oh no, you don't have to lose 50 pounds. You don't have to change your hair. You don't have to be in your feminine energy. You can be on a date and talk about your resume and da-da-da-da-da. And that's fine, but that's not necessarily a strategy that might get you what you want. Mm-hmm. And to me, I'm like, if you want someone who's over here, if you want a 10, but you're a 5, and I'm not talking just physically, I'm talking like the whole package, you got to fill that gap, or you have to get clear about what you're willing or not willing to do, and maybe readjust your standards in terms of the kind of person you want to pull. And that's just how it works. It's the same in business. It's the same if you're trying to get into school. It's the same in every aspect of life. But for some reason, when it comes to dating and romance, we want to pretend that it's not. And yes, of course, attraction is in the eye of the beholder. And you can meet someone who comes from a totally different place than where you grew up and is different in every aspect than how, than what you thought you wanted and hit it off. But for the most part, people, I always say, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And the energy that you give off and the standards you set for your life will ultimately help you attract exactly that back. And it's like a boomerang. But these are things that are somehow controversial.
No, I love your business. This is awesome. I got a question for you though. Do men get intimidated by what you do? Yeah.
Are you talking like romantic interest or potential clients?
No, like a man that you're trying to date. Romantic.
I don't know. I suppose you would have to ask them that, but
Yeah.
I think I'm always attracted to strong personalities. So, I don't see that being an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't see that being an issue. I think women are more intimidated by me than men are. Because a lot of women, when I say these things out loud, like if I say, okay, your appearance matters, men are visual creatures, then I've heard from multiple people, if it's coming from someone like me, it sometimes makes them feel some kind of way. But again, I'm not here to bullshit people. And I had a call with a male client of mine yesterday. He was a CEO. He sold his business. He's a double Ivy leaguer. And I told him straight up, the kind of woman you want, you're not good enough for. I told him that because he has this, and a lot of men have this too, where it's like an overinflated ego in terms of what they can pull. And I said to him, with all the accolades that you have, you lack dominance. You lack masculine energy. You need to be able to walk into a restaurant with a woman, pull out a menu and say, are you cool with me ordering for us? And, I got it. And he's not, because I think partly, there's so many elements. It's one hand, how you're raised. On another hand, it's society, I think, has kind of softened men in a lot of ways. And I think men are also afraid to sometimes be dominant around women because, I always say the road to hell is paved with good intention. I don't mean this in a negative way, but a lot of men have expressed to me that they're afraid of being Me Too'd. And there was a purpose for that movement, but in the same breath, there are challenges that come with it when it comes to dating, because women at a bar will say, why hasn't he approached me? But then another woman will say, he approached me. It's like basically harassment. And so you have a lot of men kind of teetering in this no man's land of like, am I too dominant or not dominant enough? And I say to men, it's not about being aggressive. It's about being assertive. It's about being a leader and dominant. And a lot of the men who I work with, that's the biggest issue they have. And perhaps to answer your question, me vocalizing that to them, maybe that's intimidating. But you know what? It gets them results. So at the end of the day, that's what they're paying for.
I love the realness.
All right, now
Love
I need
it.
to figure out what kind of woman I'm attracting right now.
That probably is a whole session that we could do.
We need to figure that one out. Wait, I need help now.
That's what I'm here for. We could talk about that if you want. I always go through, because that's a big thing you just mentioned. A lot of people don't know what they want. And sometimes it's a feeling, not a person. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people go off of, a lot of dating coaches will say, well, what's your type? Well, not everyone has a type. Some people don't know their type until it's in front of them. But
So true.
I think that's why I like the kind of approach of working backwards, where you go through, like, what are your non-negotiables? For example, some people don't want to date people who already have kids or who are a certain religion or who are too religious. And if you know what you don't want, it's a lot easier to attract what you do want.
Okay.
Or you could just go back on The Bachelor. Maybe.
No.
Maybe that's
He's like, no.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. I got things I'm trying to figure out for myself first. Try to do it on my own first, Nelly?
fair enough. Yeah.
Unless you go on the show, then I'll go.
Oh, I tried to get on the show actually a few years ago, and I was close. Yeah, I was close, but I didn't make the cut, which actually looking back is probably a good thing.
For whose season?
What's that?
For whose season?
Oh God, I don't even remember. I don't know. Maybe it was Peter's.
Peter's? Oh, yeah, that would've been a good one.
It was, yeah, it was definitely like, I don't know, whose was it? Not sure. But fun fact, I've actually coached Hannah Ann from The Bachelor.
Really?
Yeah, she was in my...
Prior to or after the show?
After the show.
Well, I mean, success. I think she's engaged
now. Yeah, she's engaged now. Yeah. She's engaged now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's so sweet. So you wouldn't be my first Bachelor alum. Let's just say that.
Okay. Worked out for her. I might as well.
I know. Let's go. I'm saying you need some work, some overtime for this one. Overtime.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure,
So how would you discuss
sure
with me now what I'm looking for?
What's that?
How would you discuss with me to find out what I'm looking for?
Well, like I said, we would go through the assessment. So if you want to go, we can just kind of do assessment right now. I'll send you the invoice later. I'm kidding. Do you know what your non-negotiables are? Like things that you absolutely don't want to negotiate on in terms of a potential partner?
We gotta be wanting to have kids down the road.
Okay, so someone who would not want kids is a non-negotiable.
Yeah, and multiple
Okay.
kids.
would you be open to dating someone who already has children, or you'd prefer someone who
As long
has
as they're
not?
willing to have more kids.
Okay.
Okay.
I gotta have little me's running around.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You gotta procreate and keep the legacy going.
Exactly.
What about religious affiliations?
I don't. All that's good with me.
Okay. Would you date someone who's extremely religious?
Yeah. You know, I actually was on a lunch date the other day, and with this lady, and she goes, if we were to continue dating, I would need you to increase your faith and really start looking into your faith more and taking it more serious. And I was like, damn, I love that she said that.
I love that she said that too. I do.
You know, and I was like, she's like, that's to me, that's like my most important relationship. You know, and she goes, if you don't, you know, focus on that, then this would never work out.
Okay.
So I was like, interesting.
She wants a strong man in faith.
Lifestyle-wise, are there any non-negotiables? Like, some people love to travel. Some people, they don't want to move. Like, would you be open to relocation?
I always said that I would relocate if it was best for my family, but I'm trying to build something special down here in Jupiter. So if you're gonna pull me out of here, you better have something big.
Something big, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm reading between the lines as you're telling me all this stuff, by the way. Do you have any physical non-negotiables?
No, I just want you to care about yourself, care about your body, and be active and fit.
Okay. See, this is the interesting thing about men is they speak in kind of abstract ways. But I hear what you're saying.
No, but I want you to feel good about yourself. Because if I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you. And I'm attracted, as Phil.
Yep, I agree.
Anybody, I'm attracted to a lot of different things.
He is.
Like my type, my looks is different. Tall, skinny.
So he doesn't have one taste. I would definitely agree with that.
So, but as long as you love what you're doing and you're active and fit, you know what I mean? And whatever that capacity is for you. So I just think fitness is so important for your mental space, for everything, you know? And it's something I love to do. So if we can do it together, it's even better.
Got it. Work-wise, are there any non-negotiables, or education-wise?
Education, no. I think anyone, I'm not. You have to go to college. No, I don't care about that. Work-wise, I just want you to want to work hard at whatever it is you like to do, and be passionate about it. And if that's one day being a mom, great. If that's if that's whatever business you're in right now, if it's selling pictures of your feet, no, I might tell a line there. But but just be passionate about whatever you're doing.
Sure. Age range, is there an age range that you'd like to kind of stay within?
Yeah. Like 25-ish, 24-ish to like 35-ish.
Oh, okay. You're not as open-minded as I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say like to 60.
No.
Well, he wants kids, so you got to be able to have kids.
That's right. That's
So
right.
25, 35, that's a good range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good range. That's like a perfect range, to be honest.
I had a second cousin just have a kid at 51, funny enough.
Right.
Yeah, but she's definitely the exception to the rule. So, yeah, I think, everything you mentioned, you're looking for marriage material, you're looking for wifey, basically, is what I got from that. Someone who fits into your life like a puzzle piece. You said you were open to relocation. Doesn't really sound like you are. You're kind of building your empire in Jupiter. Yeah. I know you work in.
But if your empire is bigger than mine, right? I will find a way to get out of keep my empire running here, and I'll be.
Yes, I understand. I have an idea of what you're looking for. So the next step I would do is I would post on my social media, not you, because I mean, unless you wanted me to, but, when I'm working with a client, I always maintain their privacy because a lot of people are paying for privacy and confidentiality. But I have some clients who are like, no, post. But before doing that, I would want to know if you had any professional photos taken. 10 times out of 10, granted, you're not my typical type of client because you're a good looking dude, but some of the guys I work with, I'm like, you need professional photos taken. You need to have great visual representation because when women see you, or when, a lot of women or a lot of society just has this public perception that men are visual and women are not. And that's not true. Men are more visual, studies show, but women are also very visual. And photos make a huge difference. So I would want to see if you had any professional photos. I'd also probably want to take a look at any dating app profiles that you have. And I'd probably go into a little bit more depth about why you think you're single. I'm willing to bet it's just you haven't met the right woman yet. And you're probably, I'm making some presumptions here, but it sounds like you're busy with work, right? So maybe there's not a lot of time for dating, but I'd want to know more about why you're single and what some of the issues in your past relationships were, so that I can also help with the coaching. And that is something that kind of differentiates me from other matchmakers. Most matchmakers will be like, okay, new client, we got someone for them, boom, date. I'm like, no, I want to coach you too, because I want to make sure that when I'm putting you on dates, you're going in with your best foot forward. We're recapping the date. We're also doing some of the behavioral and emotional work that is sometimes required. A lot of people are not emotionally vulnerable.
I'll say, I have a question for you now, because I wonder if you have this with other guys, because you're working with all these other businessmen. Example for myself is right now, I'm like beat up from work, emotionally drained, financially drained. Like, work's got me struggling, worrying, you know what I mean? I don't feel good about going out right now. I don't feel good about dating. I'm not proud of, I feel like when I'm proud of what I got going on here at home and work and everything,
You feel more confident.
then I'm proud about what I got going on outside and meeting people,
Mm-hmm.
And right now, like a lot of my work stuff, projects I'm working on and stuff like that, put me through the ringer. And I'm like, my confidence is a little shaken on some things and a little hurt, in some places. And and so I'm like, man, I'm not even proud to put myself out there yet, so I think, I guess my question is that's a big struggle for men. I feel like is if their work's not where they want it to be, going out and dating is definitely harder for them.
Well, absolutely. And I think men are really fearful of rejection as well. Because women are harsh. We are complicated, harsh creatures. And I don't deny that for 1 second. I think it's really important to become the version of you that you want to be, so that you're ready to open yourself up to love. And if you've got, with men, a lot of the things I've noticed are men will not settle down until they've reached their financial or career peak. And that's when usually they start looking for wifey. Or the caveat to that is if they're really religious, or they settle down with their high school sweethearts. That's kind of like the only other exception. But otherwise, the men who I've worked with, they don't want to settle down until they feel very confident in their career. So I understand where you're at with that. I mean, you're still young though. Like, think about what you can do with 10 years. And there's no rush, I don't think, for you at this stage to settle down, get married, and have kids, unless you really want to. Sometimes that can be a great thing, because a lot of men who have kids young, that gives them more responsibility to kind of advance in their career life. It gives them purpose. But I kind of feel like for a lot of men, it also just weighs them down, and it's extra burden. And if right now it makes more sense for you, this is what I would tell you as a coach. I would say, if it makes more sense for you to have a casual relationship, or a girlfriend who maybe is long-term but isn't pressuring you or hounding you for the ring, then that's probably the best thing, because it doesn't sound like you have the capacity right now to be getting married, because you're still trying to stabilize in your life. And that makes sense, because again, you're not even 30 yet, are you?
I just turned 30.
Oh, happy birthday. Just to like this month or January. Okay. Yeah, you're 30. Men usually, like, it sounds so cliche that they mature at a slower pace than women. We as women have a shorter biological clock. So most women who want to have kids, like 35 starts to feel a little bit like the pressure is on. But for men, you've got time. So I wouldn't be rushing. I'd be casually dating. I'd be, I could set you up with girls who are not looking for something serious. I would not set you up with a woman who is looking to get married and have kids tomorrow, though, because that would be a disservice to her, and it would be a disservice to you.
Oh.
Yeah. Part of me
and I really think you've got time.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do think, I'm like, damn, I want to have kids by like 35. It's a real thought. But I'm like, damn, 35 is around the corner.
Yeah, 5 years can go fast.
Mm-hmm. But a part of you wants to disappear for like 2 years and just grind and come back out of this. You know what I mean? Because like,
Who's that?
like myself, like work, like part of me wants to like disappear for 2 years, grind, work, find my stabilization,
Yeah.
and come out of it.
To be honest, I mean, there are two schools of thinking. Like I said, there's the one school, which is like have kids and that will give you the purpose, responsibility, and focus. But then there's the other part of me where I've seen so many people who have kids young, and it really does. Sometimes it deters them from their goals, because when you have kids, it's all about the kids.
Yep.
It's all about the kids. And you have the luxury right now of focusing on yourself. Now, you're still a man who has needs. So that's why I said finding a girlfriend who's casual and maybe like not putting pressure on you and like down for the journey maybe seems like the better move for you right now, in my opinion. And I think it's about finding someone who fits your lifestyle and isn't going to put pressure on you. You don't want a high maintenance woman. Okay. You can't have a girl who's trying to like travel the world, always, at the beauty salon. You need a girl who's going to get on the fishing boat with you, and she's going to put on her overalls and, like she's down for like, she's a simple girl.
No, because Nelly's right. I'm smiling because Nelly's spot
like
on.
A simple, hot Florida girl who loves like the boating, water.
Yes, he does.
Outdoors, and not too religious and not too like high maintenance. But someone who's naturally pretty, yeah, and athletic, probably.
You have those kind of girls in your database that would say that about themselves?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm really good at screening people. So, yeah, of course. I mean, I have beautiful women in my database. The hard thing for me is getting men in my database, because men are more private, They will, like, work with me privately. But think about it. Are you guys submitting applications online with your photos and all that stuff right now? Of course not. Yeah, you're like, why would I do that? Yeah. So, but women will. They'll be like, oh my God, I'll put and the thing is, I always make sure to tell women, there's no guarantee that you're going to get a call from me and I'll set you up on a date, because only the top 5% of women are going to get those calls. But that's, again, the nature of the dating marketplace. And I think one of the interesting things I've realized working with a lot of women, with the rise of feminism, a lot of women became more successful, more into their careers, which is fantastic. I think that, women are able to kind of take charge of their life that way. And I'm certainly a career girl, so I would never knock someone who did that. But the flip side of the coin is a lot of women have been conditioned to be more in their masculine energy, which just means they're more direct, more aggressive with their goals. And so they're not willing to compromise for a man anymore. And like I said, they're hypergamous. So they want someone who's on their level or above. So you could have, a woman, for example, who's a lawyer making $200,000 a year, and she's not going to want to date another lawyer making $200,000 a year. She's going to want to date, the partner at the firm who's making $1 million a year. And she's not going to want to be on his program because she's got her own stuff going on. And that is kind of the challenge that I think a lot of women and men have. And so what I also do as a coach when I work with women is I help them master their feminine energy, which just means being in your receiving mode. Because I think men want to be around women who make them feel like men. And in return, they will make a woman feel like a queen.
Amen.
And so it's really just a mutually beneficial thing. But if you don't have the tools, it's harder to do.
So the overall, go ahead. Go ahead, Nelly.
You need someone who's going to get on your program, because you basically told me you're in Jupiter. You're actually not really willing to move a lot of things around because you're dead focused on your goals. Fine. But you need someone who's going to fit into your life, because you're not really going to move around a lot of things in your life for someone else unless you're going to gain something from that. And that makes total sense. But that's why you can't have a high maintenance, ultra masculine energy kind of chick. You need someone who's like, go with the flow.
Okay. So what are things you would coach me on for the next few years to try and get to that position to find that right person?
I would say, number one, focus on becoming the kind of man that you want to be, which it sounds like that's the journey you're already on, but like stay focused on that. Number two, I would say, I don't know I'd have to know a little bit more about like what the selection in Jupiter is like. You might have a better chance importing. And what I mean by that is like, maybe finding a girl in like North Carolina or South Carolina or even Miami or Palm Beach, and getting her to move, because I don't know about you, but I can imagine Jupiter's smaller and more contained, and you're probably like in a smaller pool of people where you're just like seeing the same girls, right? You all know each other kind of thing.
We all went to high school together.
Right. So you would need to probably find a girl somewhere else and get her to come and join your life. And that's where you'd probably benefit from a matchmaker, getting on a dating app, or meeting people through referrals. And then I think you need someone who's going to fit your aesthetic, because you're a public figure, you're a good looking guy. You can't have a woman who's intimidated by your looks. And so you need someone who's probably pretty attractive. And then someone who's going to like encourage you and be supportive of your goals, and maybe have her own thing going on too. So that would be kind of like a rough game plan that I would put together for you.
You got a friend? You got someone for me?
I have thousands of women in my database. Yeah. If you're serious, we can keep this conversation going offline. But I would say, yeah, based on talking to you, that's my take. I don't think you can be with someone who's, I'm going to say it, an internationally renowned supermodel who's jet setting and doing her own thing. Because even though I think that's sometimes really interesting when, you know, you're around that, that's not the type of girl who's going to put her life on pause to support you.
Mm-hmm.
And move to Jupiter and be like, you know, a down ass bitch.
Yeah. No, I think what I ask for and what I'm looking for in my life is very specific and niche, in a sense that, like, it's not New York City, it's not Los Angeles, it's not Miami.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about a little boat town here in Jupiter, Florida, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
her description was spot on. I love your description, but my problem with that description is you could describe a person like that, and they can say they're that person, and then when it comes to getting in a relationship, then it all changes. That's what from my experience in life, you can say, oh, I'm a down girl, I go fishing with you, blah, 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 but then they want to get serious the following week. And that's not what he wants right now, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's important to find someone who's also doing that, but not in a rush. And the kind of women that come to mind are women who, you know, like have their own business going. Like maybe a girl who, I'm just going to throw out an example, I'm not trying to pigeonhole, but like someone who's got her own social media. Maybe she's a fitness trainer and she's trying to, like, you know, start or launch her fitness brand, but she can do that from home. So she can do that from Jupiter. Mm-hmm. And she likes on the water, you know, not someone who's like a Kardashian.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll move for a Kardashian though.
Well, I'm sure they still want to have kids, so they're always popping a new one out, right? Every week there's the new. But yeah, you know, I think it's good that you at least know what you want and don't want, because then it just makes it easier.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's like they have no clue.
I think I've also like come to that realization too. Like lately, you know, I've dated both. You know, the high maintenance, the travel all over the world. I'm like, this is fun.
But
you know, and it looks cool and it's great, you know that. But when we get down to the nitty gritty of it, this ain't going nowhere. This ain't. I'm not gonna be able to live this lifestyle.
It doesn't feel like home.
No, it's not home.
But you know, the challenges with a lot of men is they want someone who's going to get on their program, but also a woman who is somewhat independent. And it's like a very delicate balance, because most of the men who I've worked with, the number one thing that turns them off is if a woman says something that somehow strikes them as gold diggerish. It's like absolutely not. She could be a 10, but if it seems like she's looking for money, or she wants a guy who's like, you know, going to take her out to fancy dinners, a lot of men are like, even the ones who can afford it, it's a turnoff. So I say to women, you know, you have to also cultivate a personality, and it's about really being attracted to someone's character, not necessarily dating a man for the lifestyle. And a lot of women, they look at a man as like, I don't want to say all women, but a lot of women today are looking at men as like, how is he going to increase my lifestyle, instead of how are we going to grow together? And that's why you have so many people who are chronically single. And then you have a lot of men who don't want to commit because they just assume that all women are gold diggers, or they assume that all women are going to like financially squeeze them, or, you know, not loyal to them. And so you end up with people in general who are they're just in this kind of like fast food dating culture where it's like, next, grass is always greener. I can do better. Let me go on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge and see if, you know, someone hotter shows up. And it's tough. I know for sure it must be difficult being a man though, and having to like always, take these women on dates, pay for these dates, and then you don't even know if you're going to get anything out of it. But then on the women's side, it's like a lot of women feel like if I go on a date, he's expecting something. Mm-hmm. So, you have kind of these two groups of people who are just like, damned if I do, damned if I don't.
I think something that some lesson we should all learn is to remove all expectations.
For sure.
Especially early on.
Your expectations, though.
Early on.
You go untraditional.
What?
Like in a non-traditional way.
Well, just like when if I'm asking you out on a dinner date and I'm just gonna know you, like I shouldn't have any expectations. Like if I'm paying for this, you should be doing it. I don't think that
right.
exists.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, but what I'm saying is I've worked with a lot of men and spoken to a lot of men where it's like 5 dates in, they're like, she still hasn't slept with me. What's going on here? Mm-hmm. But
so they're putting timelines on it.
It took me 5 days to get a kiss from my last girlfriend.
I'm like, that's okay. Yeah. Like everyone has a different timeline.
I tried on the second date, didn't work out.
Well, there is that quote, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free, right? So sometimes it actually does work to one's advantage.
Yeah, I'm not vegan either. I need a whole cow.
And that is a non-negotiable for some people is diet things. I personally, I went on a date with a guy once who was vegan and sober. I was like, I can do one, but not both. Yeah. I definitely like to have a nice steak, but, and I can do the steak without the wine, but I can't do the vegan salad and like a mocktail. Just feels.
Nelly, you want to do a call-in before you have to run?
What's that?
You want to do a call-in before you have to run?
Oh, sure. I didn't know we could do that. Yeah.
We got call-ins so people can call in and everyone wants to ask some questions. So.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's go.
You guys are so easy to talk to.
No, you're amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you're.
I think you need to keep coaching me.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. I'm loving it.
I'm getting 2 new clients out of this. I love it.
Well, I'm happily married. I'm good.
Oh, you are?
But yeah.
You're out of all this nonsense.
We're helping a little brother out.
Yeah, we gotta get me locked up. Nelly, we got our first call live. We got Christine. Christine, what's going on?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
How you doing?
Good. I'm in Canada right now, but it's a good week.
There you go. What you got for us, Christine?
This oh my god, podcast has been like really eye-opening and super cool. So I really like you as a guest, and it's been like super cool to listen. I have a question because I know somebody in the chat was asking how much do you charge, and can you do it from like different states, or do they have to be in the same state locally as you for you to help somebody?
Thanks for your question, Christine. Wow, really putting me on the spot there. This can either be a really good thing or a bad thing for me. By the way, I'm Canadian too, so I love that you're in Canada. So I have different rates for different packages. So if you wanted to do a one-on-one session with me for 30 minutes, you can book that through my website, shameless plug, nellysudri.com. And it's $170 for a 30-minute session. But I also do packages. So if you do more sessions, the price goes down. And you can inquire on my website about that. My email is there. I have a women's course called Manifesting Mr. Right. It's a 12-step, no-nonsense system. Thousands of women have taken it and found love through it. And if anything, just also found confidence to, I get messages all the time. I left an abusive relationship. I'm finally able to get out there and date. And that is priced at, I believe, $149. And I have texting guides that come with that are as low as like $12.99, where it's like copy and paste messages, words to say around a man that kind of like trigger his instincts, and basically how to stop chasing and start choosing. So I think a lot of modern women are in this like chasing kind of thing. When it comes to matchmaking, because that's the coaching stuff, I have a free database on my website, costs $0 to join. So if you go to nellysudri.com, you can upload your photos and tell me why you are looking for love. But if you are wanting to hire me as a matchmaker, my rates, I can't believe I'm saying this publicly because I've never said this publicly, but they start at $10,000 and they go up. That being said, I do customize packages for people. So I have some clients, for example, who they don't want to do a full 6-month package, so they'll do something less. And so I customize packages as well for those who are interested. But yeah.
Good for you, Nelly.
Yeah. Well done.
You, badass.
Love
Yeah,
it.
good for you, girl.
But
That's
you know what?
insane.
A lot of people like gawk at the $10,000. That's actually on the low
and then
end. For
I had a
matchmakers.
question.
Well, I was gonna say over 6 months, right? Hold on, Chris. That's over 6 months, Nelly, right?
Yeah.
That's less than that's like
Yeah.
what, $1,500 a month?
Yep.
Come on, that's good money.
That's awesome.
There are matchmakers, like Patty Stanger, for example. She's one of the best, obviously, in the business. She's the Millionaire Matchmaker. Everyone knows her. Her packages go up. I mean, they don't start at this, but if you go on her website, her packages go up to like $100,000. So there are definitely matchmakers who charge a heck of a lot more than me. And I'm sure they're great at what they do. But I think considering how many people I have in my database, I think it's priced pretty conservatively.
I got something for you, Nelly. Christine, how much would you pay if she found your match made in heaven? Think about that. That's priceless, right?
Yeah, that's true. I would pay.
Let me phrase it differently for you, Christine. You could buy a Chanel bag.
Unlimited amount of money. I would give you my soul.
The man of your dreams, and he could buy you like 10.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
Yeah. You can buy a Chanel bag. You can buy one.
I mean, a shirt.
Always be closing.
Always ABC.
Think about the trips to Bora Bora.
Right?
Yeah, the price of finding love is priceless. So,
Christine, you got anything else?
Okay, yeah, I am curious because, I mean, as these guys already kind of know me, I can be a little bit more on the party side of things. And so I feel like most of the time I tend to attract, as we like to call, fuck boys or boys who are red flags. Do you have like a lot of people that come to you with like those kinds of things who you kind of have to like change the way that they think and how they're attracted to? Because I feel like I'm really bad with like looking at a man and I'm like, you're so attractive, and I go after like looks, but I feel like I need to change that, and it's really hard for me.
Totally. Well, so that's like a loaded question, but to answer it, Christine, I get tons of requests to work with me as a matchmaker, and I only accept maybe like 10% of them. So I'm really particular and specific about who and the type of client I like to work with. I don't work with people who are walking red flags, in the sense that they're not seriously finding someone, because that would be like a liability for my reputation as a matchmaker. When it comes to you and what you described, though, you know, respectfully, it doesn't sound like you are putting your best foot forward in your dating life. Because if you're partying and, you know, you attract what you are. I said that in this interview, right? And so if you're partying and you're living that kind of lifestyle, no shame, but like you're going to attract someone who's also living that kind of lifestyle. Okay. If you want someone who's serious about their career and like has their shit together, you need to have your shit together. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Makes a lot of
so
sense.
then when you say like when like meeting people, because like I feel like I don't have the best like things with like dating apps, and obviously if you want to meet somebody that you attract, like you don't want to meet somebody at a bar, where do you recommend meeting people other than dating apps? Like if you want to meet someone face to face.
It's all about diversification when it comes to dating. It's almost like if you had an investment portfolio, someone would do the same thing, right? Don't just invest in one stock, diversify. Don't just be on dating apps. You're putting all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, you need to be out, of course, you know, going to a steakhouse, going to the golf course, doing hobbies. That's where you're going to find high caliber individuals, doing hobbies, living life. Yes, people are on dating apps, but a lot of people are like, you know, they're playing tennis on the weekends. They're on the boat on the weekends. Maybe they're training for a half marathon. They're at the gym. Maybe they're doing yoga or a cooking class or whatever. Figure out what you like to do in your spare time. That's not just like drinking at nightclubs. And then you're going to start to meet people who are like-minded, and you're going to end up finding your tribe. I would say to you, it's probably a good time to take a hard look in the mirror and figure out what gaps to fill in your personal life are currently there, and then get to work on those. Because when you start becoming the best version of you, you're going to end up attracting someone. But if you're out looking for someone and you're not coming correct, you're not representing yourself right, you're going to continue attracting what you've always attracted. And I always say, if you've always done what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always gotten. So it's time to change things up. And it sounds like this is a wake-up call for you. But I'm happy we had this call.
I like it. I like it. I like you.
I do too, Nelly.
Yeah.
Have a good one, Christine.
Well, thanks, guys.
Good coach.
Thank you, Christine. Well done.
All right. Well, I know you have to get out of here and you got to run here.
I got 4 minutes.
You got 4 minutes. You want to do one more call or do you want to leave us with some closing remarks?
It's up to you.
All right. We can do another call in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Let's try one.
For all the ladies listening, that's Feminine Energy 101. Receiving and letting someone else take the lead.
I like it.
Just
I'm learning.
no, you're doing good.
Nelly's crushing it.
All right, we got. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Alina. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Hey, how you doing?
What you got for Nelly?
So I had a question. So I got out of a relationship probably like 5 months ago. And I did download a dating app like probably a month ago. And like, I kind of like, how do I say? Like the dating, like guys have asked me, oh, let's go on a date, and I'm able to distinguish between guys that just want to go out. And like some guys are like, oh, you seem like a great girl to take on a boat. And I'm just like, no. But then there's guys that are like, oh, let's go to dinner. But I'm kind of like, oh, am I ready? And then like my friends are like, maybe you're not. But then like I would go out with my friends and they're like, oh, you seem so much happier now that you're not in this relationship. You seem like you kind of are ready. But like in a way, I don't think maybe I am. But I think I should get out there, and I'm doing things like I've been doing Pilates for 2 months. And then like I'm thinking of joining this volleyball team that's near like my area. So I don't know, should I just jump in there and just go on a date, or should I just step back and just keep being by myself for a while?
You're coming off a breakup. You still have some unhealed wounds, right? And the question is, when is the right time to put yourself out there? Someone once told me, you don't have to find love, love will find you. And I thought that was kind of interesting because in a lot of ways, you actually do need to go out of your house and put yourself out there. But I think you need to kind of let go of the illusion that you have to hyper control everything. And the first person you're going to go on a date with means that that's your future husband. It's not. Yeah. But it's okay to meet new people and start taking the pressure out of the interaction of like, this is so serious, when it's like Tyler said, remove the expectation, just get to know someone. And if it goes somewhere, cool. And if not, it doesn't have to. I also think, focus on getting back to your roots in terms of like what makes you happy, and take all of the peer pressure that your friends are putting on you of like, this seems good, you seem happy. They're not you. They're not living in your body. Yeah. So their opinions are noted, but they're not actually relevant, because what matters most is how you feel. And if it doesn't feel like the right time, listen to your intuition. But if you're open to it, I think for you, it's like you're feeling like if you go on a date, that chapter of your last relationship is officially closed. But it has nothing to do with you going on a date. It has everything to do with your perception of that being in the past. And you cannot move into the future if you are still lingering on the past.
Yeah. Like I felt like in the relationship towards the end, like I was kind of like, I'm done. Like, I just couldn't take the stress anymore. And then my friends kept saying, give him 3 days. Give him 3 days. Go to your dad's house. Give him 3 days. Let him miss you. And I actually went to my dad's house for 3 days. And instead of feeling like I needed to be with him and all this stuff, I actually felt peace. And I actually felt no anxiety. And then that's when I realized, like, oh, maybe I don't want to be in this relationship. So
look into, I know we have to wrap up this call, but look into something called attachment styles, if you haven't heard of that before. Just Google attachment styles, and that will give you, I think, really good insight into your your behavior and instincts in your past relationships. Okay.
Yes, sounds great. Thank you.
Mine's stage 5 clinger. Let me know if anyone's interested in that. But no, Nelly, that was amazing, and
it's fun.
a lot of knowledge, a lot of inside drop there. Nelly, I appreciate you. Before we leave, give us your favorite quote to live by.
Oh gosh, what's my favorite quote to live by?
Or just give us a quote.
A quote, okay. If it's not okay, then it's not the end. Or wait, no, hold on. Gosh, I said that wrong. If it's not the end, it's not, oh God, let me do another quote.
Give it to me.
Really, let go of the illusion that it could have been any different.
Let go of the illusion that it could have been
Any different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Thank you, Nelly. I like that.
The one I was trying to get at before was something along the lines of, if it's not okay, then it's not the end. And if it's the end, then it's okay. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically meaning that, like, if things don't feel right, just keep holding on to faith that like your journey is still going. And I think a lot of people, when they're going through a breakup or they've hit a dead end in their love life, they kind of feel like defeated. And it's okay to not have everything figured out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Well, Nelly, please come back on here anytime you want. We loved having you. I learned a lot. Maybe we can help me find my match if we keep doing
Yeah.
this.
I would love that. I would love that.
But no, it's cool. Make sure you guys go to her database, sign up. We all need Nelly's help. You got so much going on.
I'm going to look out for your photo in it now. You better put your photo.
We're going to send my profile in. But I can't thank you enough. Any way I can help promote anything that you're doing. If you ever want to come back on here and talk about anything that you're doing, please, you're more than welcome. And when you get your card game, I want to play here. So let us know when you get it.
Thanks, Tyler.
Awesome,
Bye.
No, that was awesome. Great meeting you, Nelly.
You too. Have a good night.
See ya. I'm learning.
Do I just like leave the call?
Yeah, you can leave whenever you got it ready. Oop, there she goes.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, you guys. And that's a wrap for episode 46 of the Everybody But Me show. Phil, what'd you think?
It was awesome. Nelly was great.
I thought Nelly was incredible.
She was amazing.
I would take coaching from her.
Yeah, kudos to her.
Yeah.
That's a business, man.
Hey, y'all have a wonderful night, and we'll be back here again next Tuesday. Do we have a guest for next Tuesday? We'll have a guest for you in a few days. But I love you guys. Thank you all for listening and tuning in.
And enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, guys. Be safe.
Be safe.
Be
Take care of
safe.
each other. We'll be in Montauk. The leash is off of me, but I promise you, Katie, I'm coming back onto that leash come Tuesday.
The leash is on.
Y'all have a wonderful night.